All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
First episode.
First episode. Welcome all of our fans, listeners.
All 10 of you.
This is episode 1.
Yep.
And man, I'm excited. How do you feel right now?
Dude, I feel good. I'm excited to start it. I'm like, I feel like this is a long time coming and it's finally happening, which is awesome. So it'll be super cool.
Totally. Yeah, we've talked about this for a long time and I'm really excited.
Yeah.
So, well, I wanted to open this up. We talked about what we wanted our first episode to be about, and we both agreed, it'd be more along the lines of creativity.
Yeah.
And if we want to have a title for this, it would be titled Why Less is More.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I'd open up with this quote real quick. It's by Mckeown, and he writes the best-selling book, Essentialism,
Yeah.
The Disciplined Pursuit of Less, which is one of my favorite books. And he says this. He says, essentialism is not about how to get more things done. It's about how to get the right things done. It doesn't mean just doing less for the sake of less either. Mm-hmm. It is about making the wisest possible investment of your time and energy in order to operate at our highest point of contribution by doing only what is essential.
Yeah, I like that. That's super cool. Inspiring.
Yeah, it kind of just sums it up because, I think about what we might have been taught, like, you want to work hard, accomplish as much as you can,
Yeah.
and kind of be anything and everything in order to move up the ladder, so to speak.
Yeah.
Anything you can do. But this book, or this idea of essentialism, really bashes that stereotype in the sense of, don't try to take on more. In fact, eliminate what, is not essential so that you could really pinpoint what is important.
Yeah, it's true. I know. It's dude, that actually makes me think about this thing, and I it's kind of funny. I thought about this when I first started playing guitar. I was like, I wanted, like, of course, to buy like the coolest guitar possible. Mm-hmm. My favorite guitar back then, I was a huge metal fan, so my favorite guitar was the guitarist that Slipknot played. And
That's awesome.
It was like, the guitar was so ridiculous. I would never play it now, but like I loved it back when I first started playing guitar.
Yeah.
And like what was really funny was I wanted to buy that guitar, but every single guitarist that I taught to, they always said, like, no, practice on what you have, learn to be really good on what you have, and then once you have a nice guitar, it's going to be so easy to play and so nice to play that it'll just be like easy for you,
Totally.
And it totally works, especially with life. Like like grab what you have, grab what's essential to you, and make that important in your life, or get good with what you have, so that when you do have more, you're just able to do just a ridiculous amount of whatever with that, But,
yeah, that's so well said the way you explain that. And Greg Mckeown touches a lot about that in the book too. In fact, the cover of the book, it has the word essentialism in it, and it's scribbled in a circle.
Oh, that's awesome.
Basically pinpointing like what's essential versus, I think so many of us try to take on so many different things, whether in our job, our personal life, family, friends, whatever. We all try to take that stuff in, and we only can put in little amounts of energy in different areas, not fully being effective in that.
Yeah, totally.
And
That makes sense. Well, dude, I was excited. I think I wanted to, when we were talking about making this episode, I remember you said something and I wrote it down. It was so cool. And it says, narrow what's essential and pursue what's important.
Yeah.
And it's like, it totally impacts the whole like less is more thing, because there's like those things that are essential, and then of course like getting good at what you have, like
Right.
video stuff. Like for me, I narrowed my video kit way down because I wanted to make sure I can fit everything in one backpack. I just want it all to be one thing. And then I was like, I want to get good at what I have, and I want to make it like to where I can just do amazing things just with this one camera bag anywhere I go. But
Totally.
and pursue what's important. I mean, like, that's another thing, just life-wise. Like, you want to pursue what's important and essentialize that, if that's a word. But
Yeah.
like family, of course, God, of course, number one, then family, and then, like girlfriends, boyfriends, if you're a girl, whatever.
Yeah.
And, just like pursue what's important in life. Or I think what's good is to recognize what's important and then make that essential. I guess.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you said that, recognizing what is essential, because I think that each and every one of us, there's our own specific preference as to what is essential in our lives. I mean, like if we talk about like the Bible, and the Bible says that, we're all created in God's image, but then later Paul talks about, how we all have gifts that differ.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously God has put in our hearts plans, pursuits, certain desires in our hearts that on purpose he made to be different than each other. You and I, our desires, plans, giftings are different.
Yeah.
And that's how it's supposed to be.
Like I really love video stuff. You really love Barbies. I mean, like difference, and I'm just kidding.
Wow, low blow. We weren't supposed to talk about that. You said you'd keep that a secret, man.
Sorry. That's awesome.
Barbies are cool. Anyways, to the point. That's not the point.
That's awesome. Totally. Okay.
But, obviously, like, we have certain common interests. We both have things that are essential to us, but certain things that might not be as important to you are important to me.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Basically to say that every single person might hold things that are more essential to them than other people do. And that's okay. Yeah. And I think that's why we're, created differently, and that's why there's, that's why we have differences within us.
Yeah, that's why there's strengths when people come together. It's like because there's differences and they fit well with each other.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's such a beautiful thing. And, when we talk about content creating, we've worked together in media and within the church and all that. And I kind of want to shift gears here a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Putting it in the context of church.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, our viewers, this definitely doesn't, limit them to, if you're working in a church or if you're maybe a freelancer doing photography, videography.
Or volunteering in the church, yeah.
Yeah, we each have a gift in us where we can maximize our gifts to bring our highest level of contribution.
Yeah.
And so, but I wanted to get your thoughts, since we both work together, in the church setting, bringing people together in a place where they encounter God, maybe for the first time or for the 1,000th time. Some people, most people have gone to church for years and years and years, but how we create that atmosphere in a visual sense.
Yeah.
And, but if I were to say this, I think you'd agree that there was a time where there was the quote unquote cool church.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which was, let's wear jeans, let's wear let's put on the lights and the video and all that stuff. And that was cool. It was good for its time. But now if we were to put the definition of cool church or relevant church in a definition, it would be simplistic. Yeah. Let's get rid of the distractions. Let's create it to where, we're here to encounter God through the preaching and teaching of the word, worship, and even like when it comes to video and graphics too. Like, let's just start off with that. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at logos now, like for, social media or whatever, it's usually big white text, maybe Proxima Nova,
Yeah.
or something.
Monstrat.
Yeah,
I
very
don't know if that's how you
simplistic,
pronounce it.
and then like a bright color in the background. And
Or
to me,
titling. Sorry, I gotta get a font.
yeah, you're right. And maybe we can make a video on some key fonts that,
Yeah. I'm down.
will reach
That'd
out
be
to your
cool.
church. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But maybe you could just, explain that, like, what the church is using, what tools, or maybe just more of their ideals on, less is more, and when it comes to our graphics, videos, all that stuff.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's like we all I think we all are, as people, are just attracted to like beautiful things. You know what I mean? It's like people like certain things.
Right.
And it's kind of funny. You kind of just, with church wise, what I do is I just kind of follow the trends. And like, what's really kind of funny is like certain times, like a lot of churches will start doing like solid background stuff. It's kind of weird. So I kind of mainly just follow the trends of whatever churches are doing and whatever I feel like doing. And then, but yeah, I noticed like the best thing to do is literally, oh, do I have something on my face?
Sorry, no, I was scratching my
Oh,
face.
okay, good.
You're good.
But
Sorry.
it's okay. But yeah, it's what's funny is like the best thing really to do is kind of what I love doing is making things that are super easy to make and then just putting little things in there. And mainly what I do is the little things that I put in, like text or whatever, I just make sure to put a lot of detail in that little thing. So mainly it's like it's something really small, like the Easter video I just did. It looks super busy and there's like some cool stuff flying around and all this stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
But the main thing is it's literally, I don't know if most people know, but it's just a bunch of background clips from the church, and the main video shot is a cross, and that's like it. And like I just
That's
filmed,
the message.
Yeah, that's the message. It's the cross and Jesus. And it's like I literally just filmed the cross in 4K, and then I zoomed in post, which is Premiere Pro, and I zoomed in for the whole video. I just zoomed in random shots and stuff, and then like put random church stuff, and then just threw like a bunch of stuff that literally is explaining Jesus, and hey, we're having an Easter service and this is the date of Easter, in case you didn't know.
Yeah,
And, like,
exactly.
yeah, and then I put our logo in, and it's super easy, and it looks busy, but it's super easy because it's literally a video of a cross, some video of church stuff that I had, and then graphics saying, Alpha, Omega, good news, like random graphics that describe Jesus, and it's like,
Yeah, it's clean,
Yeah.
it's simple, it's to the point, but yet, I mean, it's so powerful. And I
Yeah.
think after seeing that video through, there's all kinds of different facets. There's people of all ages in there, from,
Yeah.
the older people to the younger people, the little kids. And it really gets the church people, the congregation, involved in the video.
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, right? Yeah,
That's the goal. I know.
You can't please everybody.
I try.
Yeah. But I think that's such a great point or illustration, an example of what the church is going for. And I'll never forget, I think, when we were working together on a certain project, I was working on
Dude, those were like the funnest times for me, though, working at churches. When we worked at the same church, it was awesome. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. So, but I'll never forget, I was working on a graphic. It was for the escape room, the young adult escape room.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I'll never forget, I was just racking my brain, like, what in the world? Like, how do I make a graphic that's cool looking, that gets the message out for an escape room?
Yeah.
Which is basically, for our viewers who don't know, it's you go to a place and you go through a room and you find different ways to escape out of it, but they're hidden. Yeah, challenges, and you have to find clues in order to escape. So I was like, what can I do to, make this cool and get the message across? And so you just started, and you were just like, I just remember you took your DSLR camera and you just like snapped a picture of the doorknob in your office.
Yeah.
And then it was just a doorknob, like a black doorknob, and then it's just the info. But the way it looked was so cool and like simple.
I
was like, how did I not think of that? But you know, and I was one of my favorite graphics, I think.
Oh
We
yeah,
did.
dude. Well, like normal life too, like getting away from graphics and church work. It's like normal life. I think everybody kind of just like, especially at work, like working normal jobs. Like I worked at an imaging center for years, and it's like,
Hmm.
and it's funny because I'm like, so much stuff happened to where it's like you can obviously overthink things, and like you can obviously like think way too hard on what you need to do, but it's just like so easy to just be like look at the obvious and be like, oh, okay, well, why not just do that, you know? It's like
Totally.
moving things. Like if you have 50 boxes to move, like why not grab a dolly instead of do it by hand, you know? It's like I
Right.
think people tend to overthink things always. And that's like one of the things I'm trying to learn in graphics and in life is just like try not to overthink things and try to just think of the ways to do it the best, the easiest, you know?
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, oh, I totally agree. Like, and if we shift gears from, you know, the creative works,
Yeah.
and, you know, I think it's so important to give this disclaimer to our listeners. Like, every person is creative in their own capacity, in their own right. It just isn't narrowed down to art and design and video. I think
Yeah.
God's given us creative power in every area of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for our listeners, for our viewers, just to encourage you, you know, this pertains to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But if we shift gears from, you know, video, graphics, all that stuff, what we know and what we've worked, like when it
Yeah.
comes to life, I think we truly are on this journey of discovering. At least I could speak for myself. This journey of what can I eliminate in my life that isn't benefiting me, that is maybe slowing me down from
Oh yeah.
truly pursuing what God's called me to do, from being effective,
Yeah.
just in every area of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, dude, I think like one of the biggest things that people need to do, and that I had to do, is like um, looking at the people that you're hanging out with, because like
Yeah.
that's like it sucks because like there's so many times where you're like amazing friends with these people, but like at the end of the day, you need to hang out with people that, of course, like you're good friends with, but also people that help you grow and people that aren't pulling you down. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like yeah, of course, like in my life there's been tons of friends that I've like loved, but this is like part of my testimony in high school. Like a lot of my friends, a lot of them have been, you know, like totally gotten off of it, which is great, but a lot of my friends were like drug people, like big in high school, and like
Wow.
and I, you know, by the grace of God stayed out of it, thank God. But like but yeah, one of my best friends, he's totally clean now, which is awesome. But
Dang.
he was like big into drugs and everything, and like and I remember like my whole high school, I always hung out with him, and I was able to stay out of it. Praise the Lord, and like all this stuff happened, and then my senior year, I kind of just decided, I was like, all my friends were getting deeper into drugs at that point, and I just decided, I'm like, I'm just gonna switch friends, as sad as it was, because they were my friends, you know, for years. And I'm like, and of course I was mainly a church person, so I had like all my church friends, which were like my main friends, and then my high school friends. And but yeah, dude, I totally just like changed groups. It was weird because like I started hanging out with people, and I remember I talked to my friend and I was like, hey, is it cool if I come hang out with you guys at lunch? And he's like, yeah.
That's
I don't know
awesome.
why I put this like compartmentalization in my head. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. But it's compartmentalization in my head of like, no, I hang out with them at lunch, so I can't go hang out with them at lunch. But yeah, dude, I totally changed friends because like I wanted my relationship with God to grow. I knew that I wanted to pursue like ministry life, and I knew that I wanted to go in that route. So I was like, okay, well, for one, I need to not hang out with the friends I'm hanging out with, even though I
Right.
love those guys. Like, they're such cool people. Like, I've known them for years, and I'm like, I totally love hanging out with them. But at the end of the day, like, are those people building you up? Like, they've known I've been a Christian. I've tried to help them, and they're just totally not really caring about it. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's another thing, is if friends aren't building you up, if you're trying to build them up and they're taking that influence, then great. But if they're not, and like they don't really care, it's like, then sooner or later you have to think of yourself and be like, okay, well, ultimately I'm just being dragged down by these people. And as mean as that sounds, I don't want to sound mean, but at the same time, it's like, you need to think about where your life is going, and
Right.
you need to hang out with people that build you up,
Yeah, man. Wow, that's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, you bring up such a valid point where I think this conversation happens a lot, where we talk about our surroundings and the people we hang around, and people kind of like cast that down as maybe elementary or whatever. But I mean, really, the people you hang around the most are the ones that form who you are as a person. And Greg Mckeown, in his book, he talks about, what if, like, when we declutter our lives or our closet, we're looking at our closet and we're looking at what's definitely, what we wear, what we don't necessarily wear, what's not essential to us. If we can apply that, life of decluttering our closet or our space or whatever with things we don't need or that don't bring value to us, and apply that into our own lives. I mean, I totally agree. I think friends or people we surround ourselves with is one of the most crucial things.
Yeah, dude.
And so,
I know.
yeah, and that was such a good point. I think for me, growing up as a pastor's kid, I wasn't going to high school and all that. I would say I had acquaintances, people who I'd hang out with. But because I knew that, they necessarily weren't believers, they weren't, on the same path as I was, Christianity-wise, I knew, like, these weren't people that I wanted to be influenced by.
Yeah.
And although I do have the regret of, I wish I was more bold and radical about my faith in Christ, more vocal.
Yeah, I do too.
I do really think, in a sense, that, after, I think sophomore or junior year, I decided to step away from that group of friends, and I found a new group of friends who, weren't, as bad of an influence in the sense.
Yeah.
And luckily too, I was fortunate enough to have a good youth group, good friends in church.
Thank God for youth group. Pastor Josh, you were awesome. Thank you. Yeah, because like, dude, youth, like, all of our group of youth friends, we were so tight, and it was like awesome. I love that. Like, when you get connected in youth group and you have like a tight group of friends, that was awesome. But anyway.
Yeah, and it truly, I mean, those people played a part. Our friends in youth played a part in who we are today. And same in high school. I mean, ultimately, regardless of who we're around, I mean, they do play a part in our lives. And the more we invest time or energy into those certain people, the more space we give them to bring more influence into our lives.
Yeah, totally.
And so, yeah, man, that's such an important thing.
Yeah. And I'm not saying to ditch all your friends.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I mean, I think in talking about essentialism, like, it should be like something that is important for us to think about too.
Yeah.
Like,
why less is more.
Exactly. Sweet.
Yeah, man. Well, that was a good talk.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think we're good there. I think we should probably stop it. I don't want to talk too much and talk forever, but
yeah, maybe.
It's good.
Yeah, sweet.
Good
All right.
first podcast. I'm almost done with my coffee.
Cheers. I know. Yeah, same.
Cool. All right. Party on. Love you guys.
Thanks to our viewers.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon.
Sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell. And comment your favorite type of animal. I don't know. What else do YouTubers say?
Should we redo that part?
No, it was great. That's awesome.
Oh,
Cool.
man.
That'll be at the end right there. Should we redo that part?